fire. Rap styles vary and carry like Mariah. I come from the Shaolin slum, and the Al I'm from is coming through with enough niggas, enough guns. So if you wanna come sweating, stressing, contesting, you got yourself swords in the midsection. Don't talk the talk if you can't walk the walk. Phony niggas that outline the chalk. I'm mad vexed, is what the projects make me. Rebel to the grain, there's no way to barricade me. Steamrolling niggas like an 18-wheeler with the drunk driver driving. There's no surviving.
Ow. Right, I have not tested whether the mic works, but let's see. Today's video is going to be a funny one, lads. I'm going to tell you a very, very interesting story about pretty much how I made it here in lovely Koh Samui, Thailand. And believe it or not, this all started 2 years ago, and it started in a very weird way. It started with me finishing university and a solo trip to Ibiza. Now I will take you back to square one because I'm telling you, I don't heard many stories like this, and I think I downplay this. I think I don't actually realise how crazy and mental this story is. So I'll take you back from day one when we first started and explain pretty much how we got here. So long story short, I went to university in north of England called Sheffield, so University of Sheffield, and basically I stayed there for 3 years. And I remember first year of uni I wasn't really into the gym. Boris Johnson, he was messing around with the gyms, he wasn't opening them, and it meant because of COVID that I wasn't really in shape, I wasn't really where I wanted to be. So what I did was I bought a bench press and I built it in my flat, which my flatmates weren't very happy with, but it was necessary. And what that did was, it made me fall back in love with the gym again. Essentially, I started absolutely smashing the bench press every single time I would go to cook. And basically, long story short, throughout uni, I fell back in love with the gym. I got into my best shape possible, and I started TikTok. I started documenting it, but just for a bit of fun, no purpose behind it. Just thought I'd start posting, get into the game, amassed a decent amount of followers. I was pretty happy. Anyway, long story short, we fast forward to third year of uni. Now it's crunch time, you know. Uni's finishing. I need to start looking at jobs and all of this. And I remember I was watching a video, I was thinking what I wanted to do after uni. A lot of people travel. Personally, I wanted to go to Spain. I wanted to live in somewhere like Marbella or Ibiza, get a little bit of experience living there, all of this. So the first thing I did, because I'm a big believer in action, is I book a one-way flight to Ibiza, because I realised if I never actually booked it, I would have never done shit. So I booked that, and then a day later I realised that was the most stupid decision ever, in hindsight. In the bigger picture, it actually wasn't. It was a stupid decision. The reason why is because of Brexit, and basically we're not allowed to work in Spain unless you have a visa or you have a European passport. So basically that flight went to waste, okay? Anyway, long story short, I graduate university, and I then basically get to July or so, and I'm in the pub with my friends, having a few drinks, celebrating the life, being unemployed. It was a good time. And I remember I get an email on my phone. I had like 6 or 7 beers here, you know, we're pretty pissed. And I check my emails and it says, check in for your flight to Ibiza. And I show my mates, I'm like, oh, look at this, lads, I booked this a few months ago. Should I send it? As a joke, and they're all like, you have to. Anyway, long story short, we flip a coin and it ends up being heads, and I end up saying, you know what, okay, I'll do it. Anyway, I never actually book anything. I go home that night, and then we go to the gym the next day, and my friend says, did you book it? And I said, look, I'm not actually doing it, surely not. And he said, you have to. I said, look, all right, bear in mind I'm unemployed this time. I finished university, I have no idea what I want to do. I'm applying for jobs here and there. I say, look, if my credit card works here and it books a return flight, I'll send it. Anyway, long story short, I'm in the gym between sets. I'm like trying to book a return flight. It's like 150 quid or something. Long story short, the credit card accepts. So I thought, that's a sign from the gods. Anyway, it's about midday. Flight's at like 6 p.m. I go home, get changed, have a shower, tell the parents, I'm like, I'm just heading out, I'm back tomorrow. And I go to Gatwick and I get on a one-way flight to Ibiza. I arrive at around 10 p.m, long story short. It was a bit of a mad one. Basically, the plan was, I was like, right, I've never been before, always wanted to go. It's never gonna happen with my friends because everyone just takes ages and like says, oh, it's too expensive shit. So I said, you know what, I'll just go by myself, fuck it. And I remember I just booked the tickets high. It was like Glitterbox Sunday, I'll put it up on the screen. And I just said, I'm gonna just send it, just one night, fuck it, see what happens. So anyway, get a few drinks in the plane, I start preying, I start meeting some people. and I just go and pretty much have a sick night. I'll show some things on the screen. There's a lot of cool things that happen at night. One thing that potentially changed a lot was there was a song that played. It was Alternate Free, if you know it. You know how it goes, you're free to do what you want to do. You know that song? Put it on the screen. Excuse my singing. But that song hit me when I was pretty out of it, let's say. And it really did sink in. I was just like, oh shit. After 18 years of being in school, not really being, I was 20 years old, sorry. After 20 years of being in school, university, just kind of going with the flow, I'm now actually free to do whatever the fuck I want. And it kind of just sunk in and I was like, okay, this is cool. Happened at the right time I heard that. Anyway, long story short, we have a great night. And I remember, I'll never forget this feeling. It was 6 a.m, I was watching the sunrise, which if you've ever seen in Ibiza, is insane. On Playa de Bossa Beach. And I was walking, and I remember I had this flight at 10 a.m, and I had to go home. And that upset me. In fact, it angered me a little bit. I was like, why do I have to go home? I wish I could stay here, all of this, And I had to go home anyway. Then, after that, this is where it gets interesting. After that, I basically went back to England and did labouring, a bit of scaffolding, a bit of all types of work for about 3 weeks. And I was just trying to save as much money as possible so I could go back again with my mates, and that's exactly what I did. At the end of the month, it was my 21st birthday, we went to Ibiza, and we went for 2-3 days initially. No return flight, obviously, you know how we do. No, we don't fucking do them. And it was unbelievable. Basically, one of my mates flew from Geneva. He was out seeing some friends in like Chamonix at the time. He came to Ibiza. I flew out on my own. And that one trip pretty much changed everything for me. Now, I'll tell you why, for 2 reasons. First off, I flew at around 6 a.m. in the morning, so I had pretty much the whole day to myself. I then went to Nirvana Beach Gym, if you know. I'll put some clips on the screen, and filmed a lot of content there. Got my Instagram popping off from there, which was an interesting one. If I never took that leap, that would never happened. But second of all, we went out when my friend got there. We had a sick night, and I broke my phone basically. Went to high, woke up 7 a.m. The phone wasn't working, so I have no phone, and you know I use Apple Pay and all that shit. So my money's on there. It's a bit of a problem, right? Anyway, gonna change up a location. Anyway, in order to basically fix my phone, I have to now walk from Playa de Bossa to the old town, which is about an hour and a half walk, 2 hours walk. And I remember, this is where everything changed. I remember basically, for the first time in a long time, I had to walk with no phone. So I had nothing to do really, other than just to think and just enjoy, look at my surroundings. And I was walking along the beach, and I was looking at kind of like all the locals, because Playa de Bossa in the old town, this is like where the people who are the expats, all these people who live there. And I just looked at what everyone was wearing, what they were doing, people on their laptops, people drinking coffee, enjoying themselves. And I'm thinking, a week before this, I was doing shitty labouring, I wasn't enjoying this. I didn't like this life at all. And then it like really skin. It was like a, how do I say, like it was a strong like emotional connection like with the surroundings, because it's like exactly what I wanted, but I had to see it as well, I could feel it. So I seen that, and I was like, no. What I'm planning on doing, it is not right for me. I know it, because I had like final stage interviews to go into a foreign exchange sales job in London, in Victoria, on the Friday. This was like Tuesday. And I just thought to myself, I was like, what do I actually want? What do I actually want in life? And I was like, I want this. So I asked myself, like, what's this? And I said, well, I want the freedom to be able to work from a beach. I want freedom to be able to work from my laptop. I want to be able to live where I want. I want to be able to live in hot climates. I don't want to be told what to do. And I seriously meant it. So I said, okay, cool. That's what you want? Yeah, cool. So how are you going to do it, mate? And then I just said, well, we've got to start making money online. We have to start making money from a way that doesn't involve people telling me what to do. I have to work for myself. I said, okay, cool. How are you going to do that? What are you good at? What do you like? And you start thinking, and you're just like, right, what am I good at? I was like, well, I like the gym. I love it. I always talk about it. I've been doing it for a long time. So how can we market that? And it's funny. You just start asking these questions. You just sit with yourself and you ask these questions, and you go, oh, there was a podcast I listened to. Rob Lipsett and Joss Mooney, two 2-3 months ago. And I remember he was saying about his kind of agency. Then the ideas start going. And when I asked myself, like, are you sure? Is this what you want to do? And I'm like, yeah, fuck it. Let's see what happens. Anyway, long story short, go and get my phone fixed. As soon as I do that, I get on the phone with Josh, his agency. I call him and I pretty much sign up. I think I took a loan or some shit for like $2,000 and signed up with business mentorship. And then I stayed out on Ibiza. I called my interviews. I said, fuck them all off. And then I went home and I started just doing everything possible to push me in the right direction. A good little tip is, if you don't know how to start, just do everything in your power to make failure impossible. So I just did everything. Posted like 3 times a day. I made a website. Who the fuck even needs a website these days? But I made one. I talked about business mentorship. I did every single call. I took notes, asked questions, did everything. And first month I made like £400. Like, it wasn't much. I mean, to be fair, I will say that first online payment you ever get would change your life. It doesn't matter about the money. It was like, Jesus Christ, I have a proof of concept, I have a working model. That was insane. But then the next month, I made around like £3,000. And that there was when I realised, shit, I'm onto something here. And not to mention that I actually really enjoyed what I was doing. I still absolutely love what I do. But all of that stemmed from an idea that got planted in my mind because I decided to go to a place where the environment suited me and where I could think and actually just figure out what it is I wanted. What I just did was I basically figured out what I don't want and then reverse engineered everything on the back of that. Now, what I find pretty mad and what I've been reflecting on the last few days is how manifestation works, if you will. Because that day when I was 21 years old, or 20, I'm not sure, it was 2023, I think I just turned 21. I was walking along the beach, kind of in no direction. I didn't really know where I was going. I think I was just going to go into some foreign exchange, or I was chasing money, all this shit. Didn't know what I was doing, and all I wanted to do was work for myself and work from a beach. And it's funny, I now live in Koh Samui, Thailand, and I do exactly that. But I didn't know how back then. I just wanted it, like, bad enough. And it's something I read about quite a lot. It's just like, sometimes it doesn't matter about the how, the why is strong enough. It's like, if you want something bad enough, just visualize it, keep seeing it, and then your brain, your reticular activating system will essentially filter out everything that you do not want and get you slowly there, day by day, week by week. It's a bit of a mad story how one stupid night out in Ibiza really changed the trajectory of my life. Because the truth is, if I didn't go to Ibiza, I'd probably be working that job right now. And I'd probably be living a life that didn't really suit me, not what I wanted to do. Safe to say now that isn't the case. I do everything I want to do, and as a result, I think better. I'm able to plan better, I'm able to see my clients better, I'm able to turn up to content a little bit better. And it all came from one mental decision, to fly to Ibiza on my own, which then led me to finding out what it's actually like, which then led me to going back, which then led me to getting that idea, which then led me to starting a business, which then led me to flying to Thailand, which then led me to coming back here. It's all pretty mental, isn't it? I think there's a bit of value in that. It is just a funny story, but the value is, do what you truly want to do. We're all gonna die. There are no rules at the end of the day. That's what I wish I knew. Just because 100, 1,000 around you say you have to do one thing doesn't mean it's true. You don't have to do what everyone else does. You can do whatever you want to do, to be honest with you. There are no limitations. Hence why I have this lovely tattoo that says Sin Limite in Espanol, which means no limits, because I don't believe in any. They're all bollocks. Everyone says you can't do things. Just ask why. Just literally, ask yourself why you can't move to the other side of the world right now. There'll probably be 3 answers. Oh, you don't have enough money or so. You probably have this limitation here, you know, you have like families and so forth, but then you start to write that down on paper and you say, okay, we can probably earn enough money here, we can probably communicate with them, and you realise you can't do it. It's just like, people tell you can't and you just believe that. Nothing is fixed. If you answer the question why, you get everything you want. And that's exactly what happened to me, a young, naive kid who went to Ibiza and come out with a business living in Thailand. And this is the life now. I don't really plan on going back, so that's story time. If you like that one, do like and subscribe. There is many more crazy stories that I will start to document on here, because I do believe, first off, if I don't document them, I'll forget them. And second of all, I believe with content, you need to add a unique perspective to the game. A lot of people just copy and paste shit and regurgitate themselves. I think the true superpower is that there is only one you, and you've only had your experiences. No one could have had my experiences, they're mine, do you know what I mean? So it's my job to share them. And that's exactly what we're gonna do on this YouTube channel. So, I hope you enjoyed that one. I'm going to head back to work, crack on with the day. We've got a lovely day planned. That's the story of how Ibiza changed my life. If you like that one, like, subscribe. Other than that, see you next time.